up, my man Shane, man? I gotta talk to you, man. I don't know why you don't want to talk to me. Let's get to our music. Pulling up our music, guys. Start in a second. We got a great show tonight. Why are our young lions of Judah? Why are they being tamed? Yeah. All right. Get it in. It's that time.
See, when I be up in the scripts, I read it different now. I see the gospel as militant. I see the mission now.
I see the mission.
Righteous from the 12 tribes, Bethlehem, that's my inner circle. We got bylaws like every 6 days, you best be making curfew. See, we want goons that'll cut you if you touch us. Ain't no rabbis, ain't no masters. We got OGs and we got brothers, but our weapons, they ain't carnal. We are sheep amongst wolves. The warrior in my voice is a shadow of things to come. Days what I eat to beat and strengthen that inner man. We don't under, we don't over, man, we understand. Yeah, that's the spirit, man. When we speak and you hear it, man. Light work, darkness can't comprehend, so they hate cause they fear it, man. See, they the children of the ones who killed the prophets, so we count it all for joy, cause it's a sign that we will profit. At the end, when the Son of Man comes again, I pray I'm found worthy and working and part of his battle plans. I got 12
Stop behind me. Yeah.
I got 12 tribes behind me.
I got 12 tribes behind me.
I got 12 tribes behind me.
Yeah, Jesus. I got 12 tribes behind me.
12, 1, 12, 12. I got 12 tribes behind me. 12, 1, 12, 12.
I got 12 tribes behind me.
Seeking able men, such that fear I hire. That walk in truth and hate a hater, cause they fear I hire. I told y'all niggas years ago, I'm waking goons up. Can these dry bones live? We waking tombs up. I'm with the Bible gang, we throwing sets up. Real Judah, straight shooters, you get wet up.
Yeah,
your choice, baptism,
all that Nina.
with one voice, we give that living
Aquafina.
No Judas, that was brothers, they was hating on the low. Know my final destination, and can't everybody go. I got the game on like it's something like a figure four. Cross me,
hello, like Charlie Low.
He kicked the tribe out, call him the tribe of Dan.
Yeah.
Replacement killers, Manasseh and Ephraim. Don't get that bruise slap. I be speaking brew facts. I speak with the scripture, but I can hit you, leave your blue black.
I see Bob in the building.
Bisexual Hebrews, you can't eat with devils and come and eat with me. So I got 12
tribes behind me. You can't eat with devils and come eat with me. No, not possible. Got 12 tribes behind me. We're gonna see through it. See, the weak don't like to be talked to other than in smooth words. Yeah. The weak can't take reality. Yeah. They want smooth words. That's exactly what the script says. Yeah. Welcome to the Hebrew state of being. I am your humble servant and host for tonight. I am Kayel. Yes, in the building. I got my rib and I got my young Hebrew. They are getting ready for nighttime. I am starting late. Yes, we are, but still the rib is in the building. I see my brother Alan is in the building. We got a couple more in the building. So, man, tonight is a title. It is, why are our young lions tamed? As you see, right now, let me get y'all to the screen right here. We gonna really get into some things, to some thoughts. So this God doesn't like Ecclesiastes. I always get into this website with Ecclesiastes. There we go. All right. So what we're talking about tonight, man, Judah, the lion, as you see right here, right? Let me switch my cameras. Let's switch my Yeah, guys, I'm starting to get good with this thing, man. I'm gonna work it out though. So what we're saying, so you can see this, Judah, right? So the Lion of Judah, as I played PZ song tonight, 12 tribes. So there's many tribes. Judah just happens to be the tribe that was taken in the transatlantic slave trade along with Benjamin. We have to understand, or I pray that we can come to an understanding that this tribe of Judah was given the scepter by the Most High. That means the ruling stick, for lack of a better word. Scepter is what the king holds in his hands to show that he is king. Our scepter, to be clear, if you don't know, if you're wondering, okay, I'm Judah, where's my scepter? Your scepter is the law. And the Most High says that the law will not depart from us until he comes, until his kingdom comes. Something very important for us to understand when we look at the geopolitical, the geosocial, the geoeconomic status of the ones that have the law. See, having the law is not easy. People don't like the law. You would think that somebody that is, or some group that is holding the spiritual law for man, that rest of man would have a certain level of respect for them. I see Raji in the building. You would think that they would have a certain respect for the people that the Most High says holds his law, and they are the law givers. Well, that's not the case because we live in a lawless world. We live in a lawless society. Yes, we have rules, we have regulations, we have fines, we have penal systems, we have judicial systems to keep an order in place, but it is not the Most High's law. There was as I came up with the title of this weekend, during Shabbat, two young men came to the door to come and get Logan to play before sundown. And when they first came, I told the guys, come back in about 30 or 40 minutes, all right? They came back a little bit early before sundown, right? And the second time they came, my rib answered the door. And they, with Logan standing by her, they, as she told them that I said another 15 minutes, they proceeded to tell her why. They proceeded to question an elder. They began, I see my brother Yawan is in the building, Eran and everybody, the home crew is in the building. Ty is in the building. Happy birthday again, Queen. So when these two kids came, they had the audacity at their age. We're talking 9, 10, we're talking 8 to somewhere between 8 and 10 years old. Had the audacity to question an adult. They didn't understand any parameters. They didn't understand any rules, especially when it came to children, to adults. So much that they questioned. And then, secondly, the other kid motioned to Logan, come on, man, come on, like to go around your mother, to disregard the law that has been put in place and come on out and play. Now, when I wrote this title down to use for this evening, my first initial way of coming at this was to get our people to understand how our kids are tamed and theirs are not. That from a birth, those feeling as though that they have an entitlement, that they have a right to do and say whatever they want, is not an entitlement that black kids or melanated communities have, not the children in those communities either. We understand that boundaries can get us killed. Going over those boundaries can get us killed. Asking too many questions, pushing the envelope can get you killed. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and so many others that we have no idea, all the way to Dr. Sebi, all the way to Bob Marley. You have a system that when it's in place, it does not want righteousness or people to speak against their system. That entitlement of their system is what their children have. We understand in our system, if we push the envelope, if we say we're the people, we get a law called the BIE, Black Identity Extremists. When we start to claim something other than being the children of just slaves and the story ending at the word slave, when we decide to do something other than that, we are singled out. Laws are made against us. Our kids don't have, and then that means us as adults don't have that entitlement. And when our community, our kids do have a sense of entitlement or the frustration because they do not have anything that they can call their own, even though the scepter and the law is ours, even though they, in this society, they know that that is not respected. They know that them having the law of the scripture is not respected. It won't get you a job. It won't get you out of this oppression. It won't get you above this racism. So, like I said, when I first wrote this down, my position or my perspective that I was going to come to the lesson was to say and show how our kids, that when they don't have a sense of entitlement of anything that they feel that is their own, they act out, and it is called in our community violent teens. It is called at-risk youth. It is called any derogatory thing that you can think of to say that we are lost, that we have no direction, that we are violent, uneducated. When I first wrote this, I wanted to say that our kids needed that same bravado in order for our community to change. Initially, I was going to say that our kids needed to have that feeling of entitlement to kick down doors, to be a different breath that wouldn't be a shucking job type of Negro, the one that wouldn't sell out his community for a paycheck. I thought maybe if they had an entitlement of this being their community, that would make it different. But in between that time of Shabbat, the Most High spoke to me in so many ways. And tonight, my perspective has changed. Our kids need to know that they hold the scepter, that they hold the law, that what those other two kids were was not something to look up to or admire, but to call it for what it is, disrespectful. And mind you, those two other kids were not black. One was white and one was Arab. How you responded? Tell them, babe. How did you respond? She responded like, "Wait, how? Tell me. I forgot." Oh, yeah. So when the kids asked her why you couldn't come, she's like, "Cause I said so, right? The law, right?" They were like, "Ooh, like she done came down on us so hard." And all she said was, "No, that my child is gonna adhere to the law in this house, and he's not gonna go with yours." And they was like, "Whoa, big offensive." That is a microcosm, meaning that is a small example of exactly what happens on a large level in our society. When we as a people say, no, this is our standard, this is who we are as a people in front of our doors, the world, and like I'm saying, so we look crazy to the world. As she looked crazy to them, we look crazy to the world when we stand up and say, no, I have a standard. No, I'm not in a cult. No, I'm not crazy because I don't want to go out on Friday night with you and drink until I throw up. No, I just have a certain standard for myself. And it's actually in all the books that this country says it abides by, this Bible. It's not a foreign concept, but it's foreign to the world. So that means that the world is foreign to the law. The world is foreign to the law of righteousness. But that doesn't stop the world. And this is a very important point for us to understand as we go forward. The fact that the world doesn't follow our law, the fact that the world doesn't respect us as the holders of the law, the fact that the world doesn't respect that we are the children of the book of the Most High, the fact that this world does not respect us as the children of slavery, saying, hey, we are more than just slaves that were brought from the west coast of Africa and from the slave coast of Benin and Wayuda, which are derivative names of Judah and Benjamin. Because we stand up and say that we want to uphold the law of righteousness and then we are the children of the book, when the ones that are calling themselves Jews today, they are saying the same thing, that they are upholding the book. And even though they are through maternal, and nowhere in our Torah says that the Most High counted us by the mother, by the maternal, but in fact by the paternal. That would be the X chromosome. The Y is the woman's chromosome. So when they say that they're just here to uphold the law, why is it crazy that we're saying we're up here to uphold the law as well? Because then that's when it comes into the fact of racism. That's when the racism is in. When you can't see another people that are actually fraternally bloodline connected to Dawid, to David, that can be shown through history and through migrations of the different uh, um, slaveries that we've gone through, then one would have to ask the question, if all the proof is there. I see you in the building, Big Chief Black Chawa. I see you in Carnival season, baby. If you are understanding, I see in the building, Chanel. If you are understanding that you hold the law, and that when people walk past you and they clutch their purse or they look at you like you're an alien, it's because you have the law that they're afraid of. That's a law of righteousness. Every place, every place, please look it up in history. Every place that the Hebrews have gone into slavery from 586 BC all the way to 70 AD, all the way to the 100, 500, 700 AD in Spain, when Gibraltar, Jabal Tariq, which is what they named the Rock of Gibraltar after him, when he took over Spain from the Visigoths. All of those migrations, we built nations wherever we went, and we're still building this nation. We built this nation, and yet we're still building it through our tax dollars. America without tax dollars can't have a military. America without tax dollars can't do anything. When we understand that the reason that Judah is tamed is so that they can oppress us and extract the gold from us. She said, Kayel, I ain't got no gold. What you talking about? Well, remember this: if you think that you don't have gold, if you don't think that you produce gold, ask yourself, why did Columbus write back to King Ferdinand and Isabella that he found gold in Hispaniola? Then he said something better than gold. It was us, slaves, free labor, better than gold, because see, gold has a finite value. Slaves can reproduce your value over and over and over again until its death. Where gold, only once when you sell it, you've got your profit. You got your profit. No, with slavery, you get to multiply that by breeding. You get to make more gold bars. Get it? Something better than gold is gold that you can replicate. So everywhere that Judah has gone, he has been tamed, not by our law, but by the oppressor's laws that has been used to extract and build their kingdoms. Extract the gold of our talents, our labor, our blood, our sweat, and our tears, and build a kingdom off of that, and then put a police force to keep us at a certain level and put laws in, financial laws, redlining, to keep them at a certain economic level. Of course, you let a few shoot through to make everybody have that carrot in front of their nose so they can try and achieve the American dream. So, no, I want you guys tonight to understand that the reason that the title of the show is, why are your young lions, your young Judah lions, being tamed? They are being tamed through educational systems that indoctrinate them so that they can become good earners in the system that America has set up, which happens to be an oppressive regime. Well, you say, how can you say America is an oppressive regime? We live pretty well. Well, they killed and reclassified all of the indigenous people that were here and brought indigenous people from another land and seeded them here. and then lumped them all into one, took the indigenous rights and lumped it into a foreigner's uh, identity, and said that they do not own the land. So therefore, they killed, they pencil whipped, and they swindled and put disease to take this land that they created, this United States. Now they got it through oppression, but yet somehow you believe that they're not keeping it through oppression. That's something that you have to deal with yourself on. That's a riddle that you need to figure out. That a place that created itself off of the breaking, the killing, the diseasing of an indigenous melanated people to only bring in another melanated people to seed, and then take the remnant of the ones that they killed, the ones that they starved, the ones that they gave diseases to, put them in a lot, told them they were no longer of that land, that they were part of a African people from another continent, took their strike and they lost. I mean, took all their rights, except for the ones that were able to hold some treaties through dear life. Not to mention the 5 civilized ones that said that they accepted slavery, so therefore they could be given a check. They call them natives. See, wherever we've gone, we've been the money maker. In order for you to continue to have a money maker, make money, you got to have that money maker part of the program. When you go to your job, you got staff meetings, you got morale boosters, you got incentives. It's the same thing. It's how to keep the slave, what's the word I want to use? Content. How you keep the slave content? You give them shiny new things. You tell them that they can buy a house, but they don't own the land. You got to pay you a tax for it. So wherever Judah has gone, Judah has made money, has given great riches to their kingdoms, from Greece to Rome to Persia to America. Why would it be any different today? You want to know why they want your kids in school as soon as possible? You want to know why they want your kids shot up as soon as possible? You want to know why they need to make sure that you register your child with the United States so they can get all the benefits, right? So they can get all the benefits. Let's get into our scripture so we can prove our point, so it doesn't seem as though we're just talking about it, right? So when we look at our scripture tonight, I know it's a blurry screen, guys. I hope it's getting better. We're trying. All right, we're going to leave it right there. All right, that'll work. I'm gonna make sure you guys. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so if we start here, we're in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7. That's right. I see Scott in the building. That's what's up. So yeah, you should love this one, Scott. The title of the show tonight is "Why Are Our Young Lions Being Tamed?" We're tamed so that we can be a part of the system. And here in Ecclesiastes 7, it says, "Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and the gift destroyeth the heart." Now you say, we live in an oppressive society. I just outlined the oppression of our society, from taxes, buying a home, can't own the land. On the land, that's a whole nother thing. Um, then taxes. If you own the land, why are you paying taxes to a government unless they own it? And how could they have eminent domain and come back and take it, right? If it's your land. We are talking about the different ways that Judah is the moneymaker for this society. And I'm going to take it in a different direction. I'm going to take a real hard left. And I want you guys to understand that the majority of the staples, medical, Scott, judicial, attorneys, um, jails, penal system, um, school system, lower and higher education. These four things, without us being in oppression, would not exist. These four major industries rely on us, on the melanated people, right? So let me explain. If us as a people decided to follow the law, right? Follow the Most High's Ten Commandments, and we're no longer killing anyone. We're no longer in each other households. We're no longer backstabbing each other. We are now in a community that is not full of violence, right? We are in a now law abiding society. Would you need as many police officers? Because every politician runs that I'm going to get us more police officers for more safety. Who are they trying to have be safe? Who are the police protecting? Your tax dollars when you go and buy your food, when you go and buy your pay your state tax on your insurance, I mean the taxes on your home, that pays for the police that in turn, y'all getting what I'm saying? So if we didn't need the police officers, then where would our tax dollars go? Where would the judicial, the court system be? Where would the attorneys be? What cases would they now have? There's no criminal court. Civil? Civil is different from criminal. We're talking about the criminal court system, which makes the most money in America. Without said people of melon, which dominate the prison systems, dominate the court systems, dominate the, as many reports have shown. So if we weren't facilitating that judicial system, then a lot of people would not have jobs. That's one. In order to keep your workers working, to have the system going, waking up 9 in the morning, so they can get off, so they can make that paycheck. You have to keep them healthy. Your entire system of health, if you don't know, if you've ever tried to tell your boss that you're sick and you could not go to work because you were at home doing holistic medicines, he's not going to accept that. What they can accept is a written excuse from a doctor. That is your only reason to not be able to go to work and still get paid. Sometimes you don't even get paid when you provide. You can just keep your job. Okay? So there's no such thing as healing yourself. You must go through this medical system, which is an educational system, which the people that go through it have 80 to 100 to 200 to 300,000 to sometimes a ridiculous amount of money they owe in student loans. When I'm telling you about oppression that is around you and triggers the anxieties in you, is because you are in an oppressive society, you're in an oppressive work situation. It is and started by the Egyptians to oppress a certain people. The first time they had jobs ever known in history. Ecclesiastes 7 says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. So when you have our youth that won't take the yoke of the education system, don't want to sit still, want to be out learning, want to be a brave, want to be a conqueror, that has that spirit of entitlement born. Because, see, my young Hebrew learned a word today in school. They're going through government. He's learning the beginning of our American government. And in that, he's learning a word called inalienable or unalienable rights. Those are rights that cannot be superseded by any government. It says that in this nation, all men and women are born with inalienable rights. That's the rights that were given to you by the Creator. To be a man, to be a woman, to make your decision. The Most High gave you something He didn't give His angels, He didn't give His animals. He gave you free will. Our young lions, our youth are being indoctrinated and tamed in order for them to be a generator of money, to be the multiplied gold bar that Christopher Columbus told Ferdinand and Isabella he found when he hit the Indies, the Americas. He found something better than gold. It was a replicating gold bar, you, the melanated, indigenous aboriginal. The Most High says that you're not their tamed lion. That's not why I put you here. You are not here to be a slave to any other nation. But if you do not follow me, you shall be a slave to another nation. And we do not follow the Most High. We follow the gods of the oppressive nation. And we wonder why. And we even times curse and question our Creator because we don't understand that His word has been written and has been tried and true for thousands of years, but yet we listen to people, our mothers, our fathers, our pastors, all these so-called leaders that are all buying into the system because every religion is a 501c3. That means that they are a government organization. And they do it so that they get federal funding, tax dollars, so they don't pay tax dollars. See, they can't give you tax dollars and then you pay them back the tax. That's just right, stupid, right? So the religious institutions here get their 501c3 and they are a religious nonprofit institution that receives tax dollars to indoctrinate and keep everyone in the mind state that you are a Gentile that must follow their God in order for salvation, which their God is known to be an Hebrew. But yet they want you to be a Christian that believes in the Romans story of resurrection, of their account of killing a righteous man that was a Hebrew, that was a melanated man that is known in our books, the Dead Sea Scrolls, as the righteous teacher. And he was not blonde hair and blue eyed, and he was not hung on a cross. He was hung from a tree in their own New Testament, Galatians chapter 3:13. The Most High says, "Come back unto me and hold my law," not the law of Christians or Baptists or anybody else's law that says that mine is done away with. It's simple. But oppression, it says, but in Ecclesiastes 7, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. What does that mean? That means that we are obviously not operating in a sane position. We are in oppression, and to such a degree, we have Stockholm syndrome, which is the clinical diagnosis for someone that is kidnapped, which we were brought here, kidnapped, and falls in love with their kidnapper. That's the clinical term for Stockholm syndrome. You believe that you were brought in slave ships, so that means that you believe that you were kidnapped. And now you love the same country that you're in and follow its God. Is that not Stockholm syndrome? Is that not what we're talking about? Is that not what the scripture says? The Most High says, as long as you follow false gods of these other lands that you have been spread to, I will not know you. Won't see your face. You'll be in this oppression. And I'm telling you that we are oppressed and we are mad. We are absolutely mad. Everybody is absolutely mad. Some of us control it better than the others, but we are all mad. I give all praises to you if you have a family that has not been touched by black on black violence. I applaud you and give all praises if you have a family that has not been touched by the penal system, that you got loved ones that's still in jail or been to jail for a long time. All praises to you if you come from a well-astute, aristocratic family that has not felt the burdens of this oppression, that you haven't dealt with a mother that worked double jobs so couldn't raise her child, so the child got caught in the streets, male and female. I'm sorry if I'm not sorry. I'm thankful if your family don't got no strippers in it. I'm thankful if you got a family ain't got no murderers, ain't got no thieves, ain't got no drug addicts, ain't got no nothing but all fine, upstanding human beings. All praises to you. But that's just not the reality for the rest of us. So the rest of us wonder, why is our people going mad? Why are our men mad? Why are our women mad? Why are our children uncontrollable? Because we're oppressed. Let's go to Genesis. And it says here, and the gift destroyed the heart. Verse 8, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. And the patience in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. So when I'm telling you that we're being oppressed, and I'm expressing how this industrial system that we are in and how the industries of this industrial complex all feed off of our young lions either being killed in it, being oppressed in it, or even being the best hop and bob they can be. It is all for the good of an oppressive system. But how do we have the victory in it? How do we break from it? How do we shake the yoke? Well, we shake that yoke and we choose the Most High, and we have patience, because it says that the beginning is worse, the end is better, because you're waking up. Because the Most High has prophesied through his prophets that in the end time we will awake. We are awaking to righteousness. We're not awaking to revolts and to killing and to whoremongering and to drug selling. But you'll find, like Martin and Malcolm did, that that doesn't matter when it comes to the system, that you're still a target. You get it? Doesn't matter if you're Bill Cosby's son before Cosby had the alleged, and you're trying to buy NBC to give content to your people that is positive, and your son is killed on the side of the road fixing a flat. Bob Marley is killed giving a message of love by some CIA agent that put a pen that had cancer on it and gave him a pair of shoes. When he put it on, he was stuck with it, with the disease. I'm not putting color on this system either. Because if you know history, then you know that the founding fathers of the colonies were black Europeans. We are in this system. We must have patience in the Most High. We must know that having our knowledge, knowing who we are, having the law, means that we have covering. It means that He's going to make a way for us no matter what. But you can't expect the Most High to make your life without any trial and tribulation. Some people think that in some God system that they're going to be in, or some doctrine that they're going to be in, they're going to have no more troubles, no more pains, that everything's going to be wiped away, like Bob said. Well, y'all think that God's going to come and everybody's going to be high, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's going to be all right? He said, if you know what life is worth, you'll love your life on God's green earth. You know what I'm saying? Now they see the light. I know I killed the quote of the song, but if you know what life is worth, you love your life that you have on this green earth, because you can see, even though all the evil is there, that the Most High makes a way always for the righteous. Genesis 49, chapter 9, verse 9. And it says, Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey, my son. Thou art gone up. He stooped down and couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Verse 10, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shaul comes, that's the Most High, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Mm. The scepter is in our hands. Our salvation is in our hands. It's in being righteous. It's in being patient. It's in understanding that this world produces nothing but hate, that this world needs to tame you. This world needs to keep you dumb and confounded. This world needs to get you caught up in Super Bowls. It needs to have you caught up in whatever the thing is going on right now, man. Cardi B and Tasha K. I can't think of it. Just anything, man. I don't know. The world needs you distracted so that you can watch your hour or two of whatever, get in bed and get back up in the morning and go back to the slave ship so that you can pay those taxes because your birth certificate is a bond that is held by England, stating that the United States, who pays tribute to England, is guaranteeing that they will continue to be able to pay because they have gold bars that are being duplicated via tax dollar. But the Most High says Judah is a lion's whelp. What is a lion's whelp? The roar of a lion. That is what Judah is. We are the roar. We are the ones that scream at the top of the mountains that the Most High is here. His law still is here. Oh, yes. Oh, praises, my brother. The scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, from Yehuda, from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. So Judah gives the law, and the young lions, the ones that are not to be tamed, the young lions, they are the lawgivers. They are the ones that are supposed to go out there and give it. See, it's mixed up because the ones that's on the corner call themselves IUIC, GMS, GOCC, IUS, whatever the names are, that's out there on the corner that can't wait to read the scripture about how the Most High is going to turn everybody else into slaves. Can't wait to read the scripture about hate. Can't wait to read the scripture about war. Yet they forget that in them same scriptures, the Father says before all of that, if you just come back, we ain't gotta go there. Why our young lions aren't preaching that? Why? Because they are part of a 501c3 that believes in the Paul's letters as the Christians do here. So are they really different? I don't know. I'm not judging. Not that part. Because I need them out there. See, I can't. They ain't all bad. Like Trump said, they got good people on both sides. They got good people on both sides, man. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I love that them brothers are roaring on the corners, though. I love the fact that the brothers are giving word because they was giving rocks before. They was giving heroin before. They was giving anything they could give. So even if they're a little off, even if they got Paulinian letters, I ain't got no issue. I even got that for Islam, man. Look, the Islam believes in Moses, Musa. Their Moses is named Musa in their scriptures, in their Sirahs, right? It don't get twisted to Muhammad come. But they fully believe in Moses. They fully believe in the law that Moses came with. They fully rock with the law of Moses. They got some other stuff with them, but I mean, they rocking with the law. They our cousin, the Ishmaelites, man. Look, hey man, I got love for Islam. I got love for the Jews of the Gentile Jews. I do. I got love for the Gentile Jews that know righteousness. The Most High said there's going to be a mixed multitude. I got love for anybody that understands Genesis 49, chapter 9, Genesis 49, verse 9, Genesis 49, verse 10, that Judah has the scepter and that Judah has the law. It doesn't matter if you're Asian, Oriental, Black, Indian, Native, Indigenous, purple, green, or blue. If you understand Genesis 49:9, that we have the law and it's not going to depart and we're going to scream it, we are a lion's whelp. Yeah. If you understand that, we all good. It's not an issue. It's when you want to change that. When you want to change the words of Moses, that was given to him by the Most High, that we are the lawgivers. We are not your burden bearers. We are not your slaves. We are the law givers. We hold the scepter of righteousness. Why every movie you see when they need somebody spiritual, they got to get somebody black? They could be in space. Sometimes when they all in arguments, they find they need somebody a reason. The one lone black guy comes out and gives the one little, or the lone black girl comes out and gives the one little quote. Well, we should be righteous about things. And then they're killed, and they're off to the side. Have y'all ever noticed that? If not, take note of it. People don't see how many times it happens when you're watching these movies, so to speak. So the scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver between his feet, until Shaul come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. That means that the people that understand this will gather unto us. All kinds, all nations. Because you have to remember one thing, all nations and all kinds enslaved us. All nations and all kinds killed us. All nations and all kinds did every atrocity you can think of to us. Your own brothers. We read in Psalms when David spoke about his own brethren that walked in under the Most High, being the ones to stab him in the back, being the ones that want to enslave, being the ones that want to destroy the community that the Most High had created. When we get to understanding that the only place that we are need to be on the same page is with the law. Let's go to 2 Kings. 2 Kings 24. We're going to drop down to verse 14. And it says, and he carried away all of Jerusalem, and all the princes, and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land. As I'm sitting here telling you that we have enriched every kingdom that has oppressed us. This is what it is saying in 2 Kings right here. They didn't take the poor people or the dumb of our nations. They didn't take them. They left them. They did not take the poor or the dumbest. They did not take the poorest or the dumbest. They stayed. So who are here? Who are we that made it here? Not the dumbest. Not the dumbest. No, sir. The ones that were the mighty men of valor. All of our sports teams probably have all of them in North America. You can look at all our mighty men of valor. They're all in our sports, right? Because it's in them. You got to get it out you. And all the princes. Maybe they're the ones that are politicians these days. Maybe they're the ones that whatever. The mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, the craftsmen, the gold makers, the goldsmith, the brass, the jewel makers, the clothing makers, the lawmakers, the physicians, the doctors, the all that we had was taken into captivity. See, it wasn't until America when we had what you call chattel slavery. See, when we was enslaved in Portugal, we were expelled, right? That meant that we were kicked out. America's not doing that. America's keeping you oppressed and living off of you. When we fled to Portugal and Spain, they expelled us. We had kingdoms, we were winning, so they wanted to take it all from us. So they expelled us. So what they did there, they killed us. They ransomed us. You had to pay just not to get your head chopped off. And I'm not making jokes. This is in history books. The blacks, only the wealthy were able to pay that their families didn't go into direct slavery. The other ones, even when they were able to pay for their families not to go in slavery, they had to pay a non-beheading tax. Yes, look it up in your history books. A non-beheading tax. That's what a slave had to pay at the port he was coming to. Because even though you paid these people here not to enslave you and allow you to leave, the way you were going was still another colony. See, when they expelled them, they said, if you pay us, we'll go ahead and give you a boat and send you to another island, to another spot. But it was to the other colonies. So even though they paid the Portugal government to not go to slave, when they brought them to Hispaniola, they had to pay a non-beheading tax that they wouldn't have their heads chopped off. See, that's not 400 years of oppression. That's not slavery. That's being your land and your everything being taken over. You're being uprooted. And when we get to those lands, we're in slavery. And we're inventing things for our slave masters. We're inventing things for our oppressor to live better. Let's go to, that's the adults. Let's go to Joel chapter 3, verse 6. Let's see what happened with our children, right? Joel chapter 3, verse 6 says, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto Grecians, Greeks, that you might remove them far from their border. Let's go up a little bit higher on Joel. Let's just read Joel from 1. Behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Yehuda and Jerusalem. Now remember that line, because we're going to go to Jeremiah in a short bit. And it says, for behold, in those days, and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Yehuda and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Yasharallah, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So Most High is partly saying that we did a lot of this, which we did, which is why we went in captivity. And it says, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they may drink. We're talking prostitution. We're talking about selling our kids into slavery. We're talking about making our boys homosexual prostitutes. Verse 4. Yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? Now you know, and all the coasts of Philistine, of Palestine, right? Will you render me a recompense? Because these are the people that did it. Tyre is right there. Oh man, let me pull up Tyre. So Tyre is Lebanon, which is Palestine, but I want to get a map so we can understand. I did not say biblical Tyre. Oh. You know you don't make a tire, spell a tire that way. So So when the Most High here is talking about Sire and Zidon, right? They had a Z there. So he's talking about these two places right here, right? This is where Most High says, what you did to my people. Now, where were we located, right? The Ptolemais, right? There's the Sea of Galilee right here. Now, all of this is Jerusalem, should be Jerusalem, right? But now, this is all of Palestine. I'm sorry, it's all of Palestine. And then Lebanon all the way up to here, right? That's not the one I want. Right here, as you see, Tyre is right there, and then you'll see Mount Hermon right here. This is where the fallen angels came down, and this is where they made their pact, right? This Kadesh is spoken about in scripture many a times of the tents of Kedar Kadesh, right? So I just want to give y'all all this is what's around us. Let me give you another one I want to do. So this is Tyre and Sidon, where the high traffic. Uh, Made that very small. All right, so this is to give you a better understanding of what the Most High is talking about in this scripture and why it is very important for us to understand. So this is what Judah is, and understand that Edom, which is Esau, I see in the building, bird child. Wow, I see in the building, baby. I saw you out there doing your thing, boy. Keep on carnival time, right? So we see right here, Edom, which is Esau, was right there next to Egypt. Our brothers Esau, the ones that sold us into slavery, the ones that hated us, especially when we had to flee from Egypt, Edom chased us. Ammon and the Moabites right here. So your Moors, your Moabites, your Moor people, the children of Ammon, right? Then you see your Phoenicia, right? And then Philistia right here. So Lebanon, which is the Phoenicians, right? These were your original Phoenicians, and in Yasharala, your northern tribes, and these two sailed the world together. This is where the giants were, right? Where Goliath and Philistia, right? They were on the water. Judah was landlocked next to the Sea of Galilee, right? The river, yeah, the Sea of Galilee, right? And then Egypt right there. So understanding as we're looking at our scripture now of Joel and the Most High saying that y'all sold all my people into slavery. So y'all gonna recompense me for that? He said, you made my children, my boys, harlots. You made my sold my girls for wine. So we know present day Philistines is Palestine, right? Some of the Islam peoples, right? Not all. We know that the Moabites, the Moors, also had us in slavery. The Most High is speaking about that here. It's the same ones. The Moabites that were the land right on the side of us, which was the children of Lot, Ammon and Moabites, and the Amorites, they all sold us into slavery. Mosiah says, you took my gold, you took my silver. Let me get to it. So it says, yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? Will you pay me back? If you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? So Mosiah said, even if you try to give me something back, don't you think I'm going to throw it back on your head for what you did to my children? Verse 5, because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried it unto your temples, my godly pleasant, my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Yehuda and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Greeks, that you might remove them far from their borders. Why do you buy a slave? Do you buy a slave because it's like a puppy? It's like a pet where you just want to feed it and show it off? No. You buy a slave because they can do work for you and be, as they did here in the slavery times in the South, a slave owner would send his slaves to go work for somebody else to earn money that would be paid back to the slave master, which is very much like a corporation, like a temp company, right? Like a temp agency, right? So slavery is for the benefit of that nation, the benefit of the house, the benefit of that community. For free, you paid a price for it once, one time price, and you continue to get value from it over and over again. As long as, like a machine or a car, you keep it oiled. So you had to develop a medical industry for your slave. Then, when the slave revolts got too big and the slaves were too much, you had to create a police force for those slaves. Well, then, now that you got slaves that are making money and you found out a way to, and they outlawed your way of doing chattel slavery, now you need to educate your slave so that your slave can still work for you. So you create an educational system, colleges, universities. When I say that America and its industries survive off of the 12 tribes, I'll say all of us, from the Ishmaelites to the Hebrews, Shemitic to the indigenous Shemites. It seems as though that we make them a lot of money. It seems as though the business of looking after their slaves is big business. It seems as though as this country is run by corporations, and corporations were the first colonialists, that it was the House of London, the House of Burgundy. These were corporations that came and set up their colonies. So if the colonies were started as a corporation that brought in slavery, it has not changed from a corporation. It's only changed the way that it treats its slaves. Joel chapter 3, verse 6, the children also of Yehuda and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Greeks, which became the Romans, which became the Vatican, that you might remove them far from their border. It says, behold, I will rise them out of the place whither you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Yehuda, and they shall sell them to the Sabines, to a people far off, for the Most High has spoken it. See, I said that I can't be mad at the guys on the corner screaming, even though they're holding on to Paul. Because, see, some people got to hear the word. Some people got to be shaken. See, everybody can't hear it and accept it. Sometimes they have to be smacked. So you hear scriptures like this, and the people that are offended by this can only be the ones that enslave someone. Well, as they tell us that they don't want 1619, they don't want their children to think that all white people are bad and all this nation is about slavery. Well, it's a fact that it is. You don't want to hear the truth that what you do will be done unto you. You really can't be in Hebrew because that's all the Most High says. The Most High tells us that we will die under our iniquity, that He isn't going to put the thought of evil in us. It's what we already have. And if we choose to go that way, He's going to try and pull us out and help us. But if we choose to go, He's going to let us go. So why is it different for anybody else? Why would it be different for anybody else? But again, like I said, my only issue with the brothers on the corner that read this scripture that speaks about them going is that they do not say that these people have an opportunity to follow Yehuda, to follow the law, to understand that the scepter is there and that we can and they can come together under the Most High's law. They just rather talk about slavery because they're hurt. They got some pain. We've gone through some things. Their delivery ain't the best. I get it. But through history, all peoples, especially non-melanated people, have believed that they can't undo their sins, that they're just doomed. So therefore they have to hate the Most High and they have to hate anyone that's saying that His truth is the truth. Because the truth means the end or the demise for them. For some reason, they never see the other side. I never understood that. How they could not see that, hey, if I just follow the law, then I'm good. I'm no longer punished. I'm not going to go in slavery with my other cousins or family members that are descendants of slave owners. Or the fact that we have been benefiting off of this entitlement. The fact that we have denied the unalienable right of these slaves, these former slaves, these oppressed people, that you in your own history books that you teach to our children about the unalienable right being a right that no law, no community, no government can supersede. They tell you that unalienable right means that it is a law that no state or no other law can supersede. That's why they had to go to court about the vaccination, because of unalienable rights. Everybody has the unalienable right to follow the law of the Most High and hear Him speak to you, hear Him guide you, hear Him speak to you. It says, verse 9, proclaim you this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords and your prune hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. We're going to say that together tonight in Hebrew. I am in Hebrew is Amar, and strong is Gabor. So I know all of it. I am strong is Gabor.
Strong's H 1368. Gibor. Gibor.
The phrase, oh, I am, they messed me up with that. I don't want no I am phrase. I want to stay with the Gabor, right? So everybody, Gabor, we are strong, Gabor, right? We've learned a Hebrew word. We're going to write this down. Y'all should write it down. Every time we do this, we should jot down the Hebrew word we learned on that day, right? Strong's H. 1368. And it is Gabor, Gibor. I am strong. Right? So the Most High says that in that day, now remember, this ain't tomorrow. The Most High says in the beginning of this Joel, right? He says, in that day, say, for behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Yehuda and Jerusalem. I've just laid out to you guys all night that we are in Jerusalem. See the buildings in that. We are in captivity. I've laid out how they went from chattel slavery, created the industrial complex, the penal system, the medical system, the judicial system, and the spiritual system, all in order for it to be to keep you oppressed and in a system, right? So we understand that we started with Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7, that oppression makes a wise man mad. So as we are here in understanding in the last days in our captivity, that the Most High is going to say, beat your plowshares into swords and your prune hooks into spears. Let the weak say Gabor. Let the weak say Gabor. Amar Gabor. Yes.
Strong's H559. Amer.
Amer
Amer.
Gabor means say I am strong. So when you're talking to somebody, say Amer Gabor. In Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew, that means say I am strong. And it says, assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Most High. Let the heathen be weakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Now, for some of our people that don't follow scripture, don't know what they're talking about right now when they're saying he's going to get them all in Jehoshaphat. Well, I know my brother Adon and I know my brother Yohan should know that Jehoshaphat is referencing Ezekiel 37 and 38. We're talking about Gog and Magog. Know what I'm talking about? He says, I'm going to put the hooks into your jaw. How many of y'all out there with me? Find me somebody putting there. Let me see how much y'all rocking with me tonight. Find out Ezekiel where the Most High and put it up where the Most High says, I'm going to put the hooks in your jaw and bring you down to Jehoshaphat. So, trust me, I'm coming around this, man. Y'all, come on, man. Y'all got to stay with me now. So it says, let the heathen be weakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So the Most High has a definite place where he's going to judge the heathen. Did y'all know that? Or y'all thought that it was going to be like, you know, like a movie or something where it's going to come out the sky? No, the Most High stated where he was going to do it and when he was going to judge the heathen. He's going to judge them with Gog and Magog, which is Ezekiel 37 and 38. And it says what? It's the script that says he's going to put hooks into their jaws and pull them into Jehoshaphat for destruction. That's what the script says, right? So it says that's when he's going to do it. He said that when it comes to us, you've heard the scripture that says he's going to separate the wheat from the tares. Oh. See, that's two different things, baby. See, separating the wheat from the tares and bringing the heathen down to Jehoshaphat to be judged. Oh, that's two different things, baby. His people, his inheritance, we got evil in us. We got evil people around us. We got people that's been backstabbing and selling us out from day one. They're inside our families, their brothers, their cousins, their uncles, their mamas, their daddies. They're all kinds. Most High says, when I come to set my kingdom, I'm going to separate the wheat from the tares of my people. But the heathen, I'm going to bring down to Jehoshaphat. The wicked, I'm going to bring down to Jehoshaphat. And it says, put you in the sickle. It said, put ye or put you in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow for the wicked, for their wickedness, for their wickedness, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Most High is near, and in the valley of decision. There is a recompense for all that has been done, but a decision is meaning that the Most High has given all the Gentiles and the heathens the opportunity to see Genesis 49, verse 9 and verse 10, that Yehuda has the scepter and has the law, and that if you want salvation, you will cleave unto Judah, unto the law. It says, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Most High also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. So when it roars, that's the lion's whelp. All praises. And utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, and the Most High will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Yasharallah. All nations still have a chance to break the yoke and the evil that this world does. Let's go to Genesis 37. Genesis chapter 37. And we're going to drop down to verse 25. And it says, and they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked and beheld, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with the camels bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Yehuda said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh, and his brethren were content. I continue to say that the Most High has a system. What you do will come back to you. You get it? If you hard of hearing, you hard of understanding, ain't nobody gonna hear you, ain't nobody gonna understand you. You want to be a whore, you'll never find love, because every woman you want will be a whore. Every man that you want will be a whore. You want to gamble, you will lose all the things that you like for your gambling. You like the drugs, you will give and forsake everything for the drug. We, in this example, the Most High showed that Judah was the one. Yehuda, our forefather, our ancestor, was the one that suggested that we put our own brother Joseph, sell him into captivity, into slavery. So you see how we are in slavery? As I just stated, the Most High lets you fall by your iniquity. Now, are we still today dealing with the sins of our fathers? Only in our DNA. You hear what I'm saying? Only in our flesh. Our spirit has the ability at any moment, any second, to change and be of the law and not under the law. At any moment, at any second of any day, we can choose to be of the law and not under the law. See, you're under the law, Hanai, when you are against the Most High. That's when you're against His law. It's the only time you're under the law. See, if you are the lawgiver, if you are the one that has embodied the law, and we're talking about 10 simple laws, we're talking common sense. Don't cheat on your wife. Don't have false gods. Don't want what your other neighbor has. Don't lie and steal. Don't kill. I mean, these are simple laws that we can't seem to follow. Well, as in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7 says, oppression makes a wise man mad. It's not that our people can't get ourselves together. It's not that our people can't come together. We can't come together under oppression because we're mad. We have to break out of it. We have to leave out of it. That's why the Most High says, come out of her, so that we can get our sanity, so that we can see the humility in each other and the prosperity of that humility. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 30. Remember, I told you to keep in your mind uh, Joel when we came in, and it said, on that day when I bring Yehuda back into captivity. And it stated that we would beat our plowshares, and the men of valor would arise, that they would awake. We would whelp. We would be the lion's whelp. Well, in 30, it says the same thing. It says, in chapter 30, verse 8, it says, for I shall, chapter 30, verse 8, for it shall come to pass in that day, same as it said before in Joel, in that day, says the Most High of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. So what is he saying by serving themselves of him? Exactly what I've been stating this entire show, that wherever Yehuda, wherever Jerusalem have gone, we have enriched those kingdoms. We have made them filthy and fat rich. Because why? Because they took the valor, the men of valor. They took the princes. They took the craftsmen. They took the smiths. They took our best. They took our elite and squeezed us like turnips for blood. The Most High says in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 8, I'm going to stop that. I know we just read Joel chapter 3 and 6, and a lot of us may have gotten real amped about it, especially them camps that be on the corner. They're real excited about that. But nowhere in Joel did it say we were going to war. It says prepare for war. But here in Jeremiah, it says the Most High is going to be the one to do it. It says, for it shall come to pass in that day, says the Most High of the army, that I will break his yoke. Who's going to break the yoke? The Most High is going to break the yoke. It says, verse 7, for alas, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, as you read above the sign, Jacob's trouble. But you shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, says the Most High of hosts, that I will break his yoke off from thy neck and will burst thy bonds. The strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve the Most High, their creator. And Dawid, their king, Dawid, in Islam, Dawid is their king. They understand Dawid to be the king. Ishmaelites understand Dawid to be the king, whom I will raise up unto them. So the New Testament tells us that Jesus is going to be raised up. But here it says that David is going to raise us up. Ezekiel 38, verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine armies, and horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomar, which is Gomar? Germany is Gomar. Russia is Gomar. Pakistan, Gomar. Well, part of yeah. But let's take Pakistan now. Let's just say the Armenians. Let's just say uh, 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 all around the Black Sea, all the way to the Pontic Steppe, all the way over into the Isles of Europe. Yeah, it says Russia, Togomar, the North Quarters, all the houses of the North, all the people of the North, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou, all of the company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou on guard unto them. Be on guard. Beat the plowshares, right? Joel 3, beat your plowshares. Be on guard. For after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter days. And what days? The latter days. Thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword. And it is gathered out of many people. It says, what? It is gathered. The sword is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Yasharallah, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely of them. Thou shalt ascend, thou shalt ascend, and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud over the land, thou and all thy bands, and all many people with thee. Thus says the Most High. It shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Shall think an evil thought, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, having neither bars nor gates. That's why your boy Trump wanted to make a gate and wanted to make right? Walls, to take spoil, to take the prey, to turn the hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited. So remember, the Most High made Jerusalem inhabited. Now it's inhabited, right? And upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of that land. Talking about Sheba, Dardan, and the merchants of Tarshish, which is what? Spain, and all the what? Young lions thereof shall say to thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey, to carry away the silver and the gold, and to take away cattle goods, and to take away a great spoil? Therefore, Son of Man, us, prophesy unto God. Thus said the Most High, in that day when my people of Yasharallah dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it? Meaning that Jerusalem, the people he think that they're killing, are not in peace. And you would know that that's not my people. He says, and O thou shalt come from the place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses in great company, and in mighty armor, and thou shalt come against the people of Yasharallah, not us, but the people that's in that land. He says, if you know my people, you know they dwell safely. But you know you're going to come across this land of my people, Yasharallah, right? Which is the other ones of the mother, Y chromosome, as a cloud to cover the land. And it shall be a latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, and the heathen may know me. May I shall be sanctified in thee, Gog, and sanctified in thee, O Gog, before thy eyes. ain't see my Jehoshaphat in here. We're gonna bring him down to Jehoshaphat. Places and shit creeping places. Let me go Ezekiel. I'm just looking for the Jehoshaphat right quick, but I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. I'll find it later. I'll come back to that, guys. I just wanted to find that Jehoshaphat was a place that bringing all of this is where they're gonna be brought down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Go back to our Jeremiah, and we get out of that. So when it says, therefore, fear not thou, Jacob, right? O servant, said the Most High, neither be dismayed, O Yasharallah, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. So we just read in Ezekiel when it says that you know my people, you know they will not be the ones that's in distress over there. It says, for I am with thee, says the Most High, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee. Yet will I not make a full end of thee, of us, but I will correct thee in measure. That's the separating the wheat from the tares, and will not leave you altogether unpunished. Because why? Because for thus says the Most High, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. We love this land and this world that much. Let's go to to that land that much that we are through civil rights, religious dogma, and oppression. We are tamed from the industries that have created to encapsulate the slave and its talents and its desires and its works, to the systems that keep us mad through oppression, which is religion, dogma, and civil rights. When they take the same civil rights that was for us and apply it to other people before they give us our civil rights. So much so that we get people like Obama that everyone thinks was for us because he looked like us. But here Obama signs the bill eliminating Negro and Oriental from federal laws. So as we know here on Hebrew State of Being, that we use the name Negro to track who they brought in slavery, right? To know who the Portuguese and the Spanish called the Negro and where they came from. See, names directly connect you to an ancestry. But Obama, who's whatever he is, took that as an option and said that you now have to be African American. Well, when Jerusalem is now known as the Middle East and they don't consider it Africa, they're saying that you didn't really come from your homeland, that you only came from a slave colony in Africa. Not that you were driven from your land in Africa and was gone into a penal slave colony and then shipped over here, and then some fled over here and then was again enslaved over here on this side. See, that's what the word Negro connects you to. African American connects you to somewhere in Africa where you got sold off as a slave in Ghana from some tribe that you don't know where and brought you here. And that's the end of it. In 1790, the U.S. Census counted people by lumping them into one or three categories: slave, free white females, and males, or all other persons. Now, I want you to understand this about the census, that a white man wasn't part of the category. He was the American. He was the United States. So there are other categories for the rest of the people that were in the United States. Was either you were a slave, you was a free white woman. So that means if you're a slave, that meant that you were male or female, and that you were black. So free white female, free white males, and females, and males are all other persons. Well, they threw the males part in there, but we all understand that that was strictly white females was the category, and male meant you were an American. In 1980, the category had gone through nearly 20 deviations. People identified as one of 15 possibilities, including non-derogatory words such as Negro. See, including non-derogatory words such as Negro. These classifications might shed some light on why some federal laws from that time contain outdated verbiage that's now being addressed. After it was unanimously passed with 380 votes, President Barack Obama signed H.R. 4238 on Friday, which amends two federal acts from the 1970s that define minorities even though in New Orleans, we would not be called a minority because 58% of the city is black people. So in actuality, in New Orleans, we would be the majority. But because of these classifications, these are the things that would make a wise man mad. That because of these classifications, even though you're the majority, you are classified as a minority with terms that are now insensitive and outdated. They're not talking about the fact that what legally it does to you. They're just saying that it's offensive to our feelings because we want to be called something else, not understanding the laws that come with being called a minority. The Department of Energy Act has for decades described minorities as a Negro, Puerto Rican, American Indian, Eskimos, Orientals, or Aleut, is a speaking Spanish speaking individual of Spanish descent. So a minority is somebody that spoke Spanish because we were brought from Spain through the slavery trade. See, we left Spain. Spain was and Portugal were the giant slave traders for the West Indies, for the Americas. So all the slaves in the colonies that we were being bred, remember gold bars that kept replicating itself. So in those penal slave colonies, we spoke Spanish and were brought here. Then we will, taught some other things. The new bill changes the language to Asian American, Native Hawaiian, a Pacific Islander. Now, a Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander should be the same thing. Why is it two different things? Because a native, as we talked about from the video that Dane Calloway said, a native doesn't mean indigenous. It's the indigenous people it's the native people that started that country, the first ones to come, the first political party in that country. So they will be the native Hawaiians because they started the government there, not the indigenous. Ain't that tricky? A Pacific Islander, which would be the native, not the native, I mean the indigenous, the aboriginal. African American, which takes you away from Spain, takes you away from Portugal, takes you away from knowing that you had Yaya the Negro, takes you from being able to connect yourself in future generations to Yaya the Negro, which comes from the royal line of David's family. See, when Obama, punk ass, sits up there and takes the word Negro and calls you an African American, you don't realize what he is separating you from. He's separating you from the line, the royal bloodline of Dawid, of David, of the Most High, of the people of the book. Because they use the word and call it nigger. You know, you think Negro is a bad term. But no, Negro connects you to a bloodline, to an ancestry, to a heritage. As it stated earlier in the article, that Negro was a non-offensive terminology, then why did it have to be changed? Because you're a minority. There's also similar language in the local public works, capital, that's money, development, and investment act. So now in the financial institution, you can only get money if you call yourself a minority, which falls in the African American. And in order to be an African American and a minority, then you have to fit certain financial levels. So you didn't know that, did you? See, as an African American, you are in the capital development, you can now be redlined. You are now categorized with a stigma. Now, when you're trying to go into a community, that community can check you off the box and say that we have minorities in our United States neighborhood. You hear what I'm saying to you? You hear what I'm saying to you? Do you understand what is being done with the pencil? When you're a minority, you are said that you have a certain wealth gap, which puts you here. The majority, their wealth is bigger, so they're available for more things. And if you're a minority that has amassed as much as the majority, then you have to do some different things to show yourself in that man. You have to prove certain things. You have to go far and beyond proof of your financial stability than the ones that are of the majority. Now, somebody trying to buy a house, you understand that. But somebody ain't never trying to buy a house, ain't got no money. They don't understand how that affects you as you're trying to climb the ladder of the society, that how this stigma puts you in a box that your boy Obama tried to lock down. But there's a thing called self-identification, self-determination. Self-determination means that you decide who you are and what you are. It's that thing called unalienable right to not choose to be called an African American or any title that they have, but an aboriginal of all lands. There's also similar language in the local public works, capital development, and investment acts. This bill was sponsored by whomever, ones who focused on the word Oriental. Ooh, yeah, that's what they were on, right? Oriental is an insulting term that needed to be removed from the books, and I am extremely pleased that my legislation to do that is now the law of the land, Ming said in his statement. Well, how did the Asians want to change their name affect us? Well, when you're in the category of minorities, then they have to look at all minority classifications because you're a minority. You ain't got no right decide what you want to call yourself. Ming did this. I didn't vote on it. You didn't vote on it. Did they present to you the issues of what happens when you choose to take this name on or this title? And it says, while a word Oriental, which became associated in the U.S. with ecstaticism of exotism and Asian American stereotypes in the 20th century, but it dropped Negro from identities in 2013 after people during 2010 count said they were offended by it. That you had people, what people though? People in the 2010 census said they didn't want Negro there. Hmm. The director at the same time said 56,000 people during the research in 1990 written under the other race that they identified as Negro. 56,000 say, "Oh Lord, I want to be a Negro though." So the census had continued to include the word in its 2000 count. It also in 2010 and then also in 2010. But by then, people were raising concerns. I apologize to them. I am confident that the intent of my colleagues in using the same wording in Census 2000 was to make sure as many people as possible saw words that matched their self identities. Full inclusiveness was the goal, Robert Groves, former director of U.S. Census Bureau, wrote. The race question has often changed over the decades as the country has changed and racial terms have evolved. I'm just trying to explain to you guys on this night that you need to understand that the taming of us is a multi-level tapestry. Multi-level tapestry, baby. From birth certificates at birth being a bond that guarantees your tax dollars will go to the tribute that's paid to England from starting there to then your indoctrination and the entire educational system that was built off of educating the slaves, because when they started the school systems, there weren't that many free Caucasians here. It was the indigenous, the aboriginal, and the slaves that were brought here that they felt they needed to teach. That's a fact. So we understand that birth certificate, oppression and slave, you paying a tribute, you're guaranteed from you before you can even speak that your work and whatever you become, you will pay the tax dollars. That's why they can put you in jail for not paying your taxes. Two, indoctrination into the school system so that you can be the type of earner, so they can analyze you and see will you be in the top percent, the low percent, the middle percent, how many workers will come out of this birth group of 1990. When you go through all your statistical tests, they will be able to tell you how many babies that were born in the 90s that got into the school systems, how many of them are going to be upper class or workers, and projection of money comes from them. Your penal system is for the ones that won't take that system, that will not be a willing participant in the educational indoctrination system. So the penal and the judicial system is in place to put them in jail or to have them do slave labor in the prisons. So lawyers, judges, courthouses, bondsmen, bail bondsmen, all has to be done. Now you got to keep your slaves healthy. Your medical industry is that. You know that Christianity started off of a church and a hospital and missionaries, right? And giving their drugs, which is called pharmacy. Pharmaceutical etymology says witch's brew. Look it up. Etymology of pharmacy. Potions, spells. So when we get Jeremiah 30, and the Most High says that I'm going to break the yoke and that nobody else is going to serve themselves off of the sweat and the labor of and the talents of my children. We understand in Joel 3 it says that the people have done that, that the Most High is going to recompense them that. And we also read in Genesis 37 that we went in slavery because we put our own brother Joseph in slavery. And then we went against the Most High, but his punishment was of what we did to our own brother. So when Joel says that the heathen, the ones that enslaved us and the ones that beat us and the ones that killed us, that that's going to happen to them, well, I kind of got to believe that the Most High is an entity of his word. We read in Jeremiah 30 that we will, after that is said and done, that we will build on top of that. It says, thus says the Most High, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tent. The same thing is stated in Job. And have mercy on his dwelling places, And the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner of. So we are gonna build when the Most High deals with them and sends them off to slavery. We will build on top of this land without having to go to war. Facts. The Most High has laid it that we will not have to go to war. Yeah, we're gonna have to stand up. We're gonna have to show we ain't no punks. We're gonna have to show we got ovaries and kahunas. Yeah, we're gonna have to show that. But the Most High says, my hand is strong. My hand is gonna do it. And he says, how he's gonna do it? Ezekiel 37 and 38. While he's gonna bring everybody to Jehoshaphat, the heathen, he's gonna bring them down. That is the war of Gog and Magog that is on the horizon right now. Most High has laid this out clearly. Should we choose to read and accept his word to be the truth? He's told us all the things that the heathen were going to do, and they did, and they have. Why can't we believe the rest is going to happen? Well, I leave you guys tonight with the understanding that it ain't about color. Our own have enslaved us and stabbed us. The others have enslaved us and stabbed us in the back. We have to be clear to check the character, the heart of everyone that we deal with, and know that they know these laws, that they are following the Most High's laws. And if they're not, then they're part of the heathen class, and you have to treat them as such. It's hard, but if you want to build a strong team, you start collecting the ones that you know are following the Most High, and focus on them, not on the other. I pray that y'all understand in this hour that the whelp of Judah can't be tamed. It can only be oppressed. We have to shake our bonds, roar like we're supposed to, and follow his law. They can seem like we're tamed because we're humbled. We are humbled by the Most High. We're not tamed. Most High says, get your plowshares and beat them together till they make swords. Now, we ain't tamed, we're humbled because we know the strong hand of our Creator and the prophecies and all that he's doing. We are not tamed, my young and old lions. We are roaring in this hour. We are whelping in this hour. But we are of the law. All praises. So that's our show for tonight. Me shalom. I pray y'all enjoyed and understand that our roar is the law, that we have the scepter and it will not be separated from us. Only we can separate ourselves from it. It is a covenant. It is a bond. It is what the Most High has given us. So I pray that you enjoy because I love my scepter. All praises. Me shalom.